you hear blaring sirens coming from the streets. Scared, you run down into the cellar. Within a few seconds, you hear bombs going off all around your neighborhood. Throughout my childhood, my grandfather would tell me stories about his difficult yet amazing life. After he passed away, my family continued to retell the story of his life in order to remember the incredible things that he did. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you all the story of my grandfather, Laszlo Walkenbari, including his early life, his immigration to the United States, and his life later on. Although he ended up having a long, successful life, he went through some serious struggles as a kid. Laszlo grew up in a small town in Hungary during World War II, where he was one of 10 children. In 4th grade, his house was bombed by British soldiers, but he and his siblings were only able to survive by hiding in the cellar underneath his house. Laszlo remembers always being hungry and scared during his time in elementary school. Despite these hardships, however, Laszlo was able to excel in high school and earn a scholarship to a college in Budapest. A motivated young man, eager to start his life, was not prepared for what was to come next. Just after graduating college, Laszlo was forced to flee Budapest following an uprising against the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had sent in troops that were wiping out thousands of Hungarian rioters at the time. The capital, Budapest, was a dangerous place at the time for Laszlo, and he had to get out of there. During the chaos, Laszlo and his friends were able to escape across the border into Yugoslavia. My grandfather would tell me this story, and he'd go into detail about how he would study the guards' movements to watch to find out what the best time would be to escape across the border. Once in Yugoslavia, my grandfather stayed in a refugee camp for 8 months. Finally, his dream came true when he was transported to New York City. His transition to the U.S. was not easy, however, because he didn't know the language, and he also had to work several jobs in order to make enough money. On top of that, he was studying chemical engineering at the City University of New York. Luckily, he was able to reunite with his old girlfriend, Maria Vostok, who had moved to Boston. Soon, Maria would become his lifelong wife and my grandmother. Laszlo and Maria would move on to have 5 kids and live in the Bay Area. For 40 years, Laszlo worked for Chevron as a chemical engineer. The story of my grandfather is one that I've heard and told many times. From being bombed as a kid to escaping the dangerous city, to getting married to his lifelong crush, the story of Laszlo is one to be remembered. I am confident that my family and I will continue to share this story with generations to come. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan, how would